It is our weekly chat with our guy Kyle McCord, coming off the big win on the West Coast against Cal, getting ready for the last two games at home here, UConn and Miami, to finish out the season. And man, that felt like a shot in the arm there. That when you're coming off the loss, you got to fly all the way across the country to come back with a win like that's got to really lift the spirits here toward the home stretch.
Yeah, that was big. That was big. I think to respond to that, I know that some people had their doubts about the game, but I was confident, and I think every single time that we've lost this year, we've responded well, and I think the guys really viewed it as a business trip, and went out west and obviously took care of business.
And did it in the most comprehensive way. It wasn't a blowout, but there's some stats like game control and stuff like that. It felt like you guys had almost full control of the game from the opening kickoff.
Yeah, no, I think obviously didn't quite put our foot down the way I wish we had. And I think, we had an opportunity to do that and, didn't fully capitalize on it. But still, I think, controlled the possession, I think, throughout pretty much the entire game, especially the first half. Defense did a good job of getting turnovers. And the offense, although, not every drive resulted in a touchdown, we put up points on pretty much every single drive. I think we only punted twice. So anytime you can do that on both sides of the ball, and our special teams was great. I think that was the best special teams game we've had this year too. That's the recipe for success.
Shout out to Jackson Kennedy, right, man? You got to feel it's got to change your mindset right on some of these drives where you now feel confident sending out the field goal team.
Yeah, no, 100%. For him to just stay in it and stay with it the entire year when his number necessarily wasn't called, and then to come up big. And the past few weeks, especially last week, going 4 for 4, and some of those were long field goals. I think he had a few 40-plus yarders. That was big, and then I think just to cap the game off, getting the onside kick too on special teams was the cherry on top of it all.
Yeah, you had a 42. That was your second field goal. Then you had a 43. That was the one you guys got in the third quarter. And the good news is it does appear he's a Cornell transfer. It appears he has another year of eligibility. So that would be good news going forward. A problem solved, hopefully, for at least a year and a half here at this point. And yeah, I mean, it was consistent moving the ball all game, right? It didn't feel like there was any point where it's like, man, we don't have answers right now.
Yeah, no. That's what it felt like. And, even when, we didn't have, a great first or, second down play, I think we did a pretty good job on third down, and obviously a really good job on fourth down too, continuing to convert the ball. And then I think, the defense playing so well, it allows you to be aggressive in those type of situations. And, obviously wish, you would have turned some of those field goals into touchdowns in the red zone, but 3 points is never bad, especially early on in the game, going down on a drive and being able to score. So I think it was just all around really good team effort.
You scored on the first 6 drives of the game. So you'll take that. Field goal, and 3 touchdowns and a field goal to open up the second half to build at the time what was the largest lead of the game. And we got Kyle McCord here, brought to you by our friends at Davidson Ford and Davidson Chevy. His weekly visit with us, looking back at Cal, getting you ready for UConn. I don't know if something changed here going back to the Pitt game, but it feels like the balance that you guys have with how you're using LeQuint, how you're throwing the ball, it feels like the balance here the last month has been outstanding on offense.
Yeah, I think a lot of that goes to the O-line, being able to run the ball. I think it opens up the pass a lot more. It doesn't allow the D-line to kind of tee off and pass rush every single down. And then, the linebackers have to come up and respect the runs, and I think that's why we were able to hit some of those play-action shots down the field. And obviously we're gonna do drop back pass, and that's a big part of our offense. But to be able to balance it up a little bit more and use LeQuint because he's a weapon and get him going. I think he had over 100 yards. So just having that mix, I think makes everybody's job easier because it doesn't allow the defense to kind of just prepare for a pass and kind of force us to be one dimensional.
Yeah, and a lot's on you too, right? With the way you're reading an RPO situation. Does it change the way you evaluate that, knowing that the line is getting more push? You're like, all right, I maybe don't need as favorable a look to run the ball.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think when you have confidence that if you hand the ball off, you're going to get at least 4 yards. And, even if they don't necessarily get a great push, LeQuint will make it right. And, turn a 2-yard run into a 4-yard run. That's important. And, it makes, like you said, my job a little bit easier where you have more confidence in the run and knowing that they're going to be able to move the ball. So, all around, I think, when we're run the ball, everybody benefits.
Yeah, look, Quint, 23 carries for $109 and 2 touchdowns. He also still, he's doing what he does. 3 catches, 25 yards. Like, that hasn't gone away from what he's doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think his stats this year, I think, are really underrated. I think he has over 1,000 all-purpose yards. I think he's over 700 on the ground and over 300 catching the ball. And, I don't think he's getting enough credit for the season that he's put together. But he's a weapon. And, I think that, if we're able to maximize what he does, both on the ground and catching the ball, it'll be a good day for the offense.
Yeah, what are we? He is currently 761 on the ground, so he's averaging 76 yards a game. It's a little bit behind his pace from last year running the ball, but then you look at what he's doing catching the ball for you guys. He is your 4th leading receiver, 393. I mean, he's almost at 400. So he's at really quickly closing on 1,200 scrimmage yards. He'll probably pass that before halftime this next week. To have a running back, I mean, he's got 50 catches.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of catches for a running back.
Yeah, I mean, he does a really good job in pass protection, and then he gets out in checkdowns too. Obviously, we've thrown him some screens, some bubbles, and stuff like that. And, I mean, you see what he does with the ball in his hands. I mean, the hurdle he had in the 4th quarter was disgusting. It's not. I don't even think the DB really went that low on him, to be honest.
No, that was a very high jump.
Yeah,
I don't know why he did. I don't know why the hurdle was the option, but it worked out.
Yeah. So I mean, having a guy like him in the backfield with me makes my job easier, and I think any way we can get him the ball, good things are going to happen.
I'm looking at the balance here, and you look at Trevor and Aronde and Jackson Meeks. If they keep up their averages, none of them are get to 1,000, but there's a really good shot that you're going to have like 3 900-yard receivers, add in one LeQuint's doing. I mean, that is incredibly balanced, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they all do a really good job at, all their skill sets are different, but they all, I think, balance each other really well. I think that obviously Trev being in the slot, does his thing, and then Jackson on the outside is a good physical receiver, and then OG, you can kind of line them up wherever. It's going to be a mismatch. They all complement each other well. And so if a defense wants to take away Jackson, then, it's going to open up Treb. And then if, they want to go, heavy focus on the receivers, and OG is going to get a favorable matchup. So, whatever the defense, I think, tries to dictate, someone in that group benefits, and they all step up to the plate and make their plays.
Yeah, what am I counting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys on the team with multiple touchdown catches, too. Yeah. So that adds up real quick. I know your touchdown rate has slowed recently, but that's because LeQuint just keeps running the ball in the end zone. He's stealing your touchdown passes.
I know. I mean, I can't be mad at it. As long as the ball's getting in the end zone, I have no problem.
Yeah, it's not like it slowed you guys down from scoring. You're still averaging in the mid-30s as it's kind of been going at around all year. As we got our guy Kyle McCord getting you ready for UConn this week. It's technically senior day this week. I know Fran was concerned about travel Thanksgiving weekend, so wanted to do a week ahead. Are you doing the whole senior day stuff here this year?
I will be. Yep.
So how does that go? Do you know what the plan is, or what does Fran do anything special? I mean, it's his first year kind of getting to design all this stuff.
I think the parents of the seniors will be on the field pregame.
Okay.
And I think I'm not. I mean, obviously this is my first time doing it too, but I think you just go out and stand with your parents, take a picture, and then just keep it moving, and then game time. Whatever they have us do, I'm sure it'll be nice. But, to be honest, I probably won't even know until, right before the game.
Do you expect like emotions, or since it's not even your last game, do you think that won't hit you since you do have another dome game literally a week after that?
I don't think so. I mean, I think anytime you play football, like you just get so locked in on the game, and then, anything that kind of happens outside of it, it's like, not even. It's like you're doing it, but like in your mind, like you're just thinking about the game. So,
so you're going to ignore your mom and your dad while you're doing this. That's what I'm hearing. Like, Mom, what are you doing out here?
You said it, not me. But yeah.
Sorry, Mama McCord. It's not intentional. We'll see you after the game.
She'll understand.
It'll be better after the game.
Yeah.
But that's what I find weird, because sometimes, like, some schools do it before the game, some schools do it after the game. Obviously, it's always awkward when you do it after the game, and if you've lost the game, that's always
not
weird.
Good. Yeah, it's not good. So. We did it at Ohio State. We always did it before the game, but like my sophomore year, like senior day, was the game against Michigan.
Yeah,
and so it's like
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's like the biggest game of the year, and then like right before the game, it's like, okay, let's take a quick break to
get the bouquet of flowers.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think doing it before the game is obviously better for that reason. But listen, I think it's, in my opinion, it's a little bit of a weird, I mean, not a weird tradition, but it's like, it just doesn't go with the flow of football. Like, everything is so amped up, and then you want to take a moment right before the game to kind of, like you said, have, flowers and stuff like that.
Here's a framed jersey. Where do I put this?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
we got a game to play.
Right. Yeah.
All right, it is UConn this week. This was one, that they really struggled last year, so the schedule comes out. You're like, all right, there's a gimme. They're not struggling this year. They got 7 wins. How much has that opened your eyes when you watch them on film here this week?
They're legit. They're a very legit team. And I think that in my eyes, like just watching them play, they look like an ACC team. They're being coached like an ACC team. They run a lot of good stuff on defense, and they've been winning games. And even in, their 3 losses, I think, obviously the Maryland game, the first game of the year, it's hard to kind of gauge where a team is week 1. And then they bounced back from that really well. They played Duke extremely tight, who's 7-3 in the ACC. And then they played Wake extremely tight as well. So in my eyes, it's just another conference game. And I'm excited because it'll be a good game.
All right, looking forward to it this week. Chance to close out the season strong. Good luck this week. We'll do it again next week, all right?
Yep. Thank you.